Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be doing the NIDHOGGR, but instead of running a normal team, which is with Freyr, I've decided to switch it up and we're going to be using Freyr melee because I do understand that some people may not have him. So I thought I'd do a video of replacing him with other character being Freyr melee, and I think I may do a few more of replacing him with different characters. I've only got one other character in mind, but I might as well do a video on that anyway as well. So, as you can see here, I'm running Freyr melee. Let me get to gear sets first. So gear sets, melee attack crit down, perfect gear. You've got Valenti with HP defense, with as her defense rolls are resistance, just so that her passive procs, which is the higher her resistance is, the more she lowers the enemy's pierce rate, which is really what you want. I've also got Barn with triple defense, full defense, with the rolls being resistance, just so we can tank a little bit better. And then we have my good old King, who has perfect attack rolls. Everything else is very mediocre. So when it comes to weapons, I have all the weapons for for King. I have all the free-to-play weapons for Barn, all the free-to-play weapons for Valenti, and all the free-to-play weapons for Trade melee. So when it comes to my links, what am I running? Attack crit down, triple defense, just so he can take a little bit better. And then attack crit down as well. Mainly because you don't plan on taking damage, so there's no point in having high HP characters. Trade melee is very good. When it comes to ult levels, 3-6, 1-6, 4-6, 4-6. So as you can see, once again, this team is free to play accessible. Trade melee's been out for a year and a half now, coming up to, so a lot of people probably have him. If not, he is going to be in the upcoming festival anyway, so you can summon on him there and maybe pull a few copies of him. But anyway, let's get into it. For cult set, I'm running the Deer cult set, which gives you 10% extra basic stats. Flat, and then when you reach 5 volt gauge, you can't be frozen. It doesn't actually do anything on this demonic beast, it just gives you 10% basic stats, which is kind of cool. So, I'm not going to lie, running Traitor melee, in my opinion, is a little bit overkill on this, with this exact team. Mainly because he gives you 40% damage reduction, she lowers pierce rate, he lowers attack, and he gives you damage reduction. So, you're looking at, like, how much does he give? Decreased damage taken by 100%. So you get 100% damage reduction from King's Shield, you get another 40% from here, you then get pretty much now these two lower his stats, so you get a lot of damage reduction. Why do turn 1? Just the normal turn 1 stuff, which is you don't really want to use the Barn cards because his ultimate, the first ultimate on the first phase, is detonate, and that's something you don't really want to hit because even having 1 ult gauge on Barn will mean the shield will break. Of course, with the extra damage reduction from melee, that might be a complete different story, but we'll have to find out. I did do this earlier. I did one attempt before this, just to make sure it was possible. I did do it. It was decently easy. The second phase was a little bit longer. Third phase was actually quite a bit quicker. But, of course, RNG is a massive factor in this. What I mean by RNG is a massive factor is I could have been unlucky, then I got a merge for Barn. And if you get a merge for Barn, he will take damage, and if he starts taking damage on the second phase, that's when you're in trouble, because that's where Extort happens, and Extort is a very big killer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pushing immediately for Trade Melee's ult, which is what you're going to use mainly for the second phase to remove the stances. Which is, yeah, the main thing, to remove stances on the next phase. Okay, so when he ults, we can then start playing the Barn cards. So there is a key thing, so I'm going to go over, when we reach phase 2, I'll go over a very key thing you can do to constantly make sure you've got a Trade melee ult, a Trade melee ult, just so you don't accidentally somehow not get the ultimate, and then you can't attack. Well, you can attack, because of course you will have the extra damage reduction from melee himself, so attacking with a character, okay, I'm taking a lot of damage here. Because he's going to ult, I have 5 ult gauge on 2 characters. The only problem with not having Freyr is you don't actually get the lifesteal, and the lifesteal is actually pretty big. That damage is now permanent damage. Like, that damage is not going away. I am going to do... Actually, no, I'm going to save it. I'm play kind of big brain here. And do this. I want to go for... I was thinking I want to go for damage reduction stacks, but I'm actually just going to go for hand space here. Also, on the second phase onwards, you can get as many buffs as you want with melee, which is pretty cool, apart from the ultimates do remove buffs and stances. So do take that into consideration. There we go. Meli's going to lose all his buffs immediately when it comes to my turn again. Meli's single targets do a lot of damage. Like in comparison to Freyr, he does a lot more. But I think the only reason Melee does more is because Amplify. Amplify is a very broken ability. Melee's actually still got his buffs, which is kind of cool. I am going to try and kill this phase. This turn, of course, get the increased damage dealt. Of course, when it comes to relics, I have everyone's relic on this team that's currently out. That being Kings for the extra basic stats and damage increase. Barnes for his own damage increase. That's Melee, very broken damage. And then I have Valentes, which doesn't actually do anything. It's not actually that useful, but it's actually pretty decent for stats. So, of course, if you can get all the relics, it is helpful. You don't need the relics. The relics are not needed, but they are very helpful to have. Can't actually get any damage reduction this turn. In fact, I can't actually get any damage reduction. I'm going to do this. I'm trying to King ult, just because I want to get rid of it. Merge, and then... I want to keep the Pierce card only because Final Phase and Final Phase, you can make sure to do a lot of percentage just using Pierce cards, because Pierce cards do double percentage. So a gold card does 50%, a silver card does 20%, and a level 1 card I'm pretty sure does 5%, which is pretty standard. And so my tactic here for always ensuring you have a a Traitor Melee ultimate is when you pop the ultimate, you immediately next turn move to Traitor Melee card, so you have 2 ult gauge, and make sure you've always got a spare King card. This is so if he pops his stance, you can move the Traitor Melee card 3 times, and then play the King card, so you have a King shield, and then next turn you've guaranteed got a Purgatory Melee ult, and you just want to keep doing that. Sorry, Traitor Melee, keep calling it Purgatory Melee. Keep having a Traitor Melee ult, and that's really all you want. It'll probably take you 2 rotations of having his ultimate to actually be able to kill it. Of course, ultimate levels will also bear in mind how much damage you do. I'll do this first, then move that, and play that. I probably could have played the Valenti card now I think about it, because I'm going to use both the ults for damage reduction next turn. I do like to make sure I've got as much damage reduction as possible, just to ensure that, you know, if for some reason I don't pull a King card, I'm safe. I'm not going to just immediately be blitzed, because that is probably the biggest fear, is that you get hit. But I should be fine, because we have 40% extra damage reduction, which is kind of insane. This will give us a damage reduction stack because these 2 are single targets, and I'll just play this to get rid of it. We won't be doing much damage. The second phase, I will admit, is probably much longer with this team than the other teams, but this is definitely a much safer team if you don't have Freyr, of course. Damage will also be lower because we don't have his buffs, because normally he gives buffs to the entire team, which is kind of handy. That's the skill I'm terrified of, because that's the disable ability skill. So that means that Sever won't work, remove stance won't work, and all these very strong abilities that this team has won't work. We have currently 4 damage reduction stacks from Melee, so we'll get the 5th one here. And I'm actually going to save that Melee card. So the reason I'm saving that Melee card is because right now, as you can see here, he's got 60% damage reduction, 20, 40, 60. Next turn we'll be playing the ult anyway, because he's going to stance next turn. So I'm not going to use the single target card. It's like guarantee know that I can hit him for. I can hit him when he's only got 40% damage reduction instead of when he's got 60. And that's the ultimate. He might actually be ulting this turn. Because if he ults he's probably going to ult next turn, and ulting next turn means he's going to remove my buffs anyway. So I just need to go full in this turn. So we're going to do this, and now this. So this will remove the stance, plus 20% damage reduction. Boom, there you go, lost 20% damage reduction. This will do more damage. A little bit, and now Melee's card should do... If Melee can crit, Melee can struggle to crit. This phase does have a lot of crit resistance. But 86k is still very decent damage for a level 1 card. Now he's going to remove my buffs, I'm pretty sure. A few extra Pierce cards would be nice. Okay, so so this turn I'm going to make sure I get King's ult again, because I don't really want to risk trying to survive a turn without King's shield. Once again, I'm pretty sure that not next turn, but the turn after, he's going to try and stance up again. As you can see, without the Amplify buffs, he doesn't actually hit too hard. But of course, he does provide his own lifesteal, so that is also a big plus. Okay, so I might actually save King's ult, Depends on what he's doing next turn. The reason I'll be actually saving King's ult is so next turn we can then, or next phase, sorry, we can then take off 10%. Yeah, okay, so next turn he's stancing. So, do this. I need melis ult, so we'll play this. And then I kind of want to get some hand space here, so we're also going to play these. This should do decent damage, I'm hoping. There you go, 65k, not too bad. 18k, she's not really built for DPS. And Barn. He isn't the strongest, but it's okay. My Barn has a mixture of rare and SR gear. You don't really need to make him UR gear. You could if you want for the extra damage, for the extra stats, you're more than welcome to. But in my opinion, it's not personally worth it. It's yes, he's used with demonic beasts, and this team is pretty useful, but I still don't think it's worth it. We need to use Meli's card. I'm pretty sure I can just kill with this, and then I've got this as an emergency card. Melee single target should kill. Big damage, there we go. That's what I want. You always want to make sure that you don't waste a king card, because king cards can sometimes be really crucial. Okay, please an extra Pierce card for Melee. Please an extra Pierce card for Melee. Or not at all, that's also very useful. The only problem is that Melee does a lot of damage. So I don't really want to risk it by doing stupid amounts. I'll do like 3%. This should do 20%. Yeah, that's a lot of damage for this demonic beast. Because what you want to do is you don't really want to get him below 30% because he gets the attack related stat boost and the HP related stat boost. So you want to get this bar down to 0 and then wipe above 30%. Now I get an extra Pierce card, of course. Also, I recommend playing the king card at the end of the turn, just so you don't do extra damage. So we can knock off another 30% this turn. And next turn we get Valenti's ult, that's another 10%. So yeah, we should be fine. We'll just get Meli's ult as well, which is useful. We'll do this. This is all about just damage control. Make sure your team doesn't do too much damage. You don't want a team that does too much damage, but also you also don't want a team that does too little damage. Because you need at least one good character that's able to do the 30% in one turn. If not, it's kind of painful. Okay, so I'm in a little bit of a pickle now, mainly for the fact Valenti won't hit hard, which is fine. But I've got Trey Meli's ult and I've got King's ult, which is fine. I'm probably actually going to save those ultimates for next. Okay, he's going to ult. It's literally no problem. It's not actually going to do anything. This will take it to below 10%. I think this should take it to... No, let's take it to like 13%, or to 10% actually. I'll take it to 10% on the dot. Which is fine. We still got around 22, 23% to play with, which is fine. There we go. This is perfect. I think pretty sure next turn I can wipe. He doesn't actually remove stances on this turn, which is good as well. If you remove stances, buffs and stances, it'd be horrible, but it's completely fine. As you can see, I have so much damage reduction, and he's still able to do damage without the attack related stat buff. I know it's only on King, and my King has not got the highest defense. He's only got all the free-to-play stuff. He's only got like 12k defense. Where if we look at like Barn's got 16k plus all of the damage, plus 40% damage reduction. Actually, no, I'm going to do it this way. So that will then remove that. So when you take it to 0, it loses the damage reduction stack and the immortality. So now what I can do now is this and this to give me the 2 extra buffs I would need to reach max buffs. So that means his ultimate will then hit the hardest it can. There you go, 40% to deal. That did 18%. That did roughly around the same. And then Meli's ult does hit very hard. So of course, if you just want to completely rely on Meli's ult, you're more than welcome to. Meli's ult is very good. Especially even at 1/6. That was 3/6, and the only difference is that between the ultimate levels, of course, is the slight damage increase, but is the stat lower, and of course this enemy can't be stat lowered, apart from with grey buffs, which he doesn't actually do, he does normal red buffs. As you can see, this team is very well. Would I recommend this team over the other team? Yeah. I would actually recommend this team over the Freyr team if you do have both teams. Of course, if your melee is very invested, you know, if this entire team you have, let's say you've got King and melee very invested, and you don't have Freyr invested, I highly recommend this team over it. Of course, you don't have the cleave or the death damage or, you know, the increased substat boost from his passive sometimes, but the extra 40% damage reduction can be clutch, especially if you get really unlucky and you don't pull any cards for King, Of course, most of the time you probably will, as there's a 25% chance every card you get, it's a king card. But of course, sometimes you go through like getting like a million Barn cards or a million Valenti cards. So, of course, having the 40% extra damage reduction will help quite a bit, especially with Valenti's lowering, Barnes lowering, and of course when you have a King Shield up, the 100% damage reduction from the King as well. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more teams like this, when I try to do wacky teams on Demonic Beast, especially this new one, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.